Hi everyone, it's Sherry. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. I did ask if people wanted to learn a little bit more about doodling and patterns and such, and I did get a couple of responses asking me to do that, so I'm here. I thought today, since this won't take very long, I'm going to do, I don't know how many, I'll know as I go along. Some of these quote-unquote Zentangle patterns. Zentangle is a copywritten word, so patterns. Let's just stick with patterns. A few of those. A couple of flowers, leaves, vines, maybe this tree. Yeah, we'll just doodle along. So hopefully you'll be able to doodle along with me or learn the way that I do it at any rate. And then if we have time, I was just looking at a little watercolor I have here, and I thought you might enjoy doing something like this. It's a little bit abstract. It's definitely a beginner, maybe intermediate, but a beginner can do this. So yeah, if we have time, we'll do that. If not, I'll do another video on that. We'll just see how it goes. It's very hot out here today and very windy, so I only have my window cracked so it doesn't blow all over the place. So it's a little bit warm in here, just so you know how I suffer for my art. Here's to you my iced tea, my homemade iced tea. And let's start with the Micron 01. It's a Pigma pen. And I think we'll start with some of the Tangle Patterns. These are some of my favorites. So let's start here. The larger image here of what a square would look like. Now each square would look like this, just sectioned off into 4, and then do your lines. So across, because that's across, is going to be up and down. Since this is across, this is going to be up and down. And then where your 4 little squares meet, you're going to put a dot there. So if you're doing a larger space like this, you may want to divide it off. This just will give you a better taste of what it would look like finished. So this is going across, so this will go up and down. This sort of gives it a, I don't know how to, sort of a tweed look. I don't know how else to explain it. You just have to take a second before you do your next block to make sure you're going in the right direction. And this is fun to do when you're doing, you know, a pasture scene or just patterns. And then you would come up into every intersection there where the 4 meet and draw your circles. So there, that's one of my favorites. Now another one, now this is the enlarged one, would be your square would look like that, and then you would draw an X in the middle. And then start at the top with lines that go across. These are going to also go across. And then on your sides, we'll go the opposite direction. And as you can see, it creates a sort of optical illusion that it's going this way. So if you were doing a number of them, it would look like this. And as I said, these can be used in any number of places. I just did a video of alcohol ink and did some pattern work in that ink painting and used both of these patterns, as a matter of fact. Just left some white space to do some doodling. And I drew some flowers and I drew some patterns. So you get the idea here. Of how that looks. So there, that's another pattern that I often use. And then this is about as simple as it gets. It's just a checkerboard pattern. And you're going to fill in every second spot. So this is white, this will be black. That's black, so this one will be white. This I use fairly often for when I'm doing a little village scene. I often use this for the roadway. Just because I find that if you add some black or black and white, it just brings out your painting a little bit more. Okay, so that's just a checker. So now I use this flower in my watercolor botany video, and this is just, okay, little loop down, another loop down, and that sort of gives you the basis for the rest. These are rounded at the ends. Then come in and in between these spaces, some more. And then in between here, until you get to the top, which is only has one. And then you're going to go in and you're going to indicate some shadows here with your pen. This is where the two sides would meet. That would create shadowing. Just gives it more depth, dimension. You come down with the stem if you choose, and maybe a leaf. So another idea for a flower. Now this flower can be used to symbolize a rose. Look how easy that is. And you can get the idea of a rose from that. Or these using half moons, you're going to create the illusion of a rose. Now you're going to come in between, I don't want this one exactly behind this one, so I'm bringing it down a bit to go between these two, if you see what I mean. And just go until you feel it's the size you want it to be. Did you see how I went in between them? And that could symbolize another rose. And then we could do, let's see, how about just a branch of leaves. Now you can go where they're symmetrical and all the way down. Or you could do as I prefer to do, and just vary the spaces. Sometimes come in with a double one. And or you can fill it out and I tried to make the bottom a little bit fuller. It just seems to fill the finish the picture better for me. Okay. What else have I got here? If you want to do a really simple mushroom, now remember to leave a little space here for the underside of your mushroom. And they often look like this, where they have the two areas. And for this, I would probably just fill it in with a pattern, possibly as I'm doing here. You know, we're not going for realism here. This is more whimsical. And our lines just going different ways so that we can give this sort of woven look. The underneath, just solid lines. And here I would go straight up and down too, but much closer than our little underneath part here. And if you want, you could do it without these lines and just make some circles, color in some circles. Or you could add that to your pattern work here, just to make it more fun. Okay, so that's a little mushroom. And again, I'll show you, I'll do it up here, I'll show you what I was doing there. Just going in this direction for a bit, and then possibly this way. And then this space here, go straight up and down maybe. You just decide as you're going along how you want this to look. So there, that's basically what I did down here. So, yeah, there's just some ideas. Maybe another flower here. Now this one I think is pretty. Make a large center and then smaller petals here. Now we draw a lot of circles inside. It's going to give your little flower lots of interest. And then what I do is just make these wonky, just like this, just no nonsense sort of pen work. And then some slight indication of veining on your flower. Okay, as you can see, I was making sort of a wonky leaf here. We could go in and do some sort of veining here. You can do it like that, or you could, you know, just sort of give it an indication of veins. Or you could make it a solid. solid lines like this. Just some ideas. Okay, now I'll show you a tree. This has come in very handy for me. Now I started with the pencil and give myself an idea of the shape of this tree. You notice I'm putting some spaces in between my little circles here. And you'll see why in a moment. Okay. All right, so this is just a guide. I'm going to come in with my pen. And remember the wonky design I did on the flower for the center? Well, I'm doing those crazy wonky pen marks for my tree. Leaving a little bit of space between some of these circles, because there I'm going to bring in some tree branches. Leave a little bit of gaps in your circles too. Tie these together. Now it's better to leave more spaces than you need, because you can always fill them in, than to not have enough spaces. So just keep that in mind. And I did the pencil lines so I could give myself a guide for the shape of this. And I can always go in and add a little bit more if I decide I need to. Okay, so now I'll come in and join those together to make sure the shape is how I want it. What I do is come in and bring in a few sort of scraggly designs here, just for a little bit more interest. Okay. This is going to be my tree trunk. Wispy downward strokes. Now the sun's coming from this direction, so this side's going to be darker. Under here is going to be darker. And the side, the right side, since the sun's coming from the left, the right side is going to be darker. Our tree trunk's coming up here, smaller but evident. And we're going to have some lines here indicating branches. And then you can fill it in as you choose. there, we have it. So yeah, just some doodles, just some easy things to do with your micron pen. If you only have a Sharpie, then use a Sharpie. You can, you only need to use what you have. These micron pens you can get from most art and craft shops. I get mine from Amazon. I just wanted to show you the difference when you fill this in. So if you're doing a painting, that's where you want to accent, you know, these leaves, these branches. Filling them in with black ink always will do that. So I think you get the idea. So I hope that was helpful for you. I'm going to check my time, and then let's do a little bit with some of this. And I tend to like to do the tips of leaves darker. I don't know why. You try it. You decide. Okay. So, just some tangle patterns. A few flowers. Some leaves. And a tree. A mushroom. Yeah. I hope you learned a little bit with that. Now I'm going to take a look at my time. And then if we have time, I'm going to do... Actually, I think I'll leave it at this. I don't want the video to be too long. I'm going to leave it at that. I just see another flower here that I might like to show you. Just a circle. And then some round petals pointed at the tips. You could do this as a sort of sunflower. In between the petals, draw more petals, and maybe a little checkerboard in the center, just for interest, and then fill in every second square. So that's just a fun one to do. Now these are great for cards if you're a card maker. Just these little designs. That's an exaggerated leaf, but fun. And maybe some do the tips with your lines. A little bit curling around the sides. Just adds a little more interest. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. My wonky. There we go. We'll leave it at that. And yeah, if you're interested in learning a little bit more of these, let me know in the comment section. And or if you're interested in doing, this is a lot easier than it looks. If if you're interested in doing this flamingo, I can do that too. So let me know. Meanwhile, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. You know the routine. If you can, share, like, comment. I love to hear from people. So comment if you have the time. And if you haven't subscribed, today's a good day to do that. And yeah, remember, today's a good day to have a good day. See you later, folks. Bye for now.